He looked at his phone and sighed. "I'll call you later," he said quickly. But later never came. That sentence sounds small. Harmless. Something we say every day without thinking. A promise we believe we will keep. A moment we assume will come again. But sometimes later disappears. And when it does, the silence it leaves behind is louder than anything you have ever heard. Daniel lived an ordinary life. Nothing dramatic. Nothing special. Just the kind of life most people live. He woke up early every morning, rushed through breakfast, and drove to work through the same crowded streets. Coffee in one hand, phone in the other, mind already buried in emails, meetings, and deadlines. He told himself he was building a future, working hard, doing the right thing. And maybe he was. But the problem with chasing tomorrow is that you start forgetting about today. Daniel had a mother who called him almost every evening. Her name was Maria. She lived alone in the same small house Daniel had grown up in. The house where every wall held memories. Birthday parties. School photos. The kitchen where she had cooked thousands of meals. After Daniel moved to the city for work, the house became very quiet. Too quiet, so Maria called. Not because she had important news. Not because she needed anything. She just wanted to hear his voice. "Hi, Daniel," she would say with the same warm tone every time. "How was your day?" And almost every time, Daniel would answer the same way. "Busy, Mom. Really busy." At first, he would talk for a few minutes. But as time passed, even those few minutes started disappearing. Deadlines grew. Responsibilities grew. Life became faster. Calls became shorter. Sometimes he would glance at his phone and see her name on the screen, Mom calling, and he would feel a small pull in his chest. But then he would look at the clock. Look at the unfinished work. Look at the messages waiting for replies, and he would press decline. Or sometimes he would answer quickly. "Hey, Mom, I'm in the middle of something. I'll call you later." And Maria always answered the same way. "That's okay, honey. I understand." She never complained. Never asked for more. Never said she felt lonely. She simply believed her son would call back when he had time. But life has a strange way of filling every empty space with something else. A meeting, a message, a notification, a new problem, and the call that was supposed to happen later quietly disappears. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months. Daniel still loved his mother. That never changed. But love that stays inside your heart and never reaches someone else can slowly start to feel like absence. One evening Daniel was driving home from work. Traffic was slow. Rain tapped softly against the windshield. His phone lit up again. Mom calling. He glanced at it for 2 seconds. Just 2 seconds. Then he picked up the phone and answered. "Hey, Mom." Her voice sounded happy. "Daniel, I was just thinking about you." He smiled a little. "Sorry I haven't called much. Work has been crazy." "That's okay," she said softly. "I know you're working hard." She paused for a moment. Then she said something small. "Do you think you might visit this weekend?" Daniel hesitated. He already knew the answer. His weekending's on Saturday, a project due Monday, a dinner with colleagues. He rubbed his forehead. "I'm not sure, Mom." "Oh, okay." Her voice stayed gentle, but something inside it faded slightly. "Maybe next week then." "Yeah," he said quickly. "Next week sounds good." Another pause. Then she asked quietly, "Can we talk for a little now?" Daniel looked at the traffic again. Cars moving, horns, his mind racing through tomorrow's schedule. "Mom, I'm driving right now." "Oh, of course. I'll call you later tonight." She didn't argue. She simply said, "Okay, honey, I'll wait." And that was the moment. The moment that looked completely normal. The moment that didn't feel important. The moment that would later replay inside his mind again and again. Daniel got home late that night. He ordered food, opened his laptop, started working again. Hours passed. At some point he remembered the call. He looked at the time. 11:47 p.m. Too late, he thought. She's probably asleep. I'll call tomorrow. He put the phone down. Tomorrow came. But life was already waiting. Morning meetings, unexpected problems, emails stacking up. The day ran away from him. By evening, he remembered again. But something else came up. Then another day passed. Then another. 3 days later, Daniel was sitting at his desk when his phone rang. But this time it wasn't his mother. It was an unknown number. He answered casually. "Hello." A man's voice spoke carefully. "Is this Daniel?" "Yes. This is Officer Grant from the local police department." Daniel's stomach tightened. "There's been an incident involving your mother." For a second his brain stopped working. What kind of incident? A pause. Then the sentence that changes everything. "We found her at home yesterday morning." Silence filled the room. Daniel felt the world tilt slightly. "What do you mean found her?" "She passed away during the night." The words didn't feel real. They sounded distant, like they were coming from another room. Daniel stared at the wall. His mind refused to accept it. "No, that can't be right. I just spoke to her." The officer's voice softened. "When was the last time you talked to her?" Daniel's throat went dry. 3 nights ago. The night of the rain. The night he said he would call later. The night she said she would wait. And suddenly that ordinary moment became the heaviest memory of his life. Daniel drove back to his hometown the next morning, the same roads he used to travel as a child. But everything felt different now. Quieter, heavier. When he entered the house, the silence was unbearable. The same couch, the same kitchen, the same small decorations she had never changed. Her glasses still on the table, a cup in the sink, a chair slightly pulled out. It looked like she had simply stepped out of the room. But she never would again. Daniel walked slowly through the house. Every step felt like regret. Every corner held a memory. He noticed the phone on the table, her phone. He picked it up. The last call on the screen was his name. 3 days ago. He sat down heavily in the chair, and for the first time since hearing the news he cried. Not the quiet tears people hide, but kind that shake your whole body. The kind that come from a place deeper than words. Because in that moment Daniel realized something unbearable. He didn't just lose his mother. He lost the chance to say things that mattered. I'll call you later. Those 4 words echoed in his head like a hammer. Later. Later. But later had disappeared. Days passed after the funeral. People returned to their lives. Work emails came again, the world kept moving. But Daniel felt stuck in a single moment. The moment of that phone call. He remembered her voice clearly. Can we talk for a little now? And his answer. I'll call you later. He started noticing something painful. Life is full of moments that seem small while they are happening. But later, they become everything. The 5 minutes you didn't give someone. The visit you postponed. The message you said you'd send tomorrow. We believe time is waiting patiently for us. But time never waits. It keeps moving quietly while we promise ourselves there will always be another chance. Daniel went back to work after a week. The same office. The same desk. The same busy schedule. But something inside him had changed. He watched people around him rushing through their days. Ignoring calls. Delaying conversations. Postponing life. He saw himself in all of them. And it hurt. One afternoon his phone rang. A friend's name appeared on the screen. For a second he almost ignored it. Habit. Reflex. Then he remembered the silence of his mother's house. He answered immediately. Hey. The conversation lasted only 3 minutes. Nothing important. But when the call ended, Daniel felt something strange. Relief. Because he had answered. Because he hadn't pushed someone into. Later. That's when the real truth started to settle inside him. Regret doesn't come from the big mistakes most of the time. It comes from the small moments we thought didn't matter. The calls we ignored. The visits we delayed. The words we assumed we could say another day. The harsh reality is simple. One day, someone you love will call you for the last time. And neither of you will know it. It will feel like an ordinary moment. Just another day. Just another conversation. Just another. I'll call you later. Until later never arrives. Daniel couldn't change what had happened. No one can rewrite yesterday. But he could change how he lived from that moment forward. He started calling people more. Visiting more. Listening more. Not because he suddenly had more free time. But because he understood something most people realized too late. Time was never the problem. Priority was. We always find time for the things we truly believe matter. The rest quietly fall into the space called later. Months passed. Life slowly rebuilt itself. But the lesson never left Daniel. Every time his phone rang, he remembered that rainy night. Every time someone said, let's talk later, he felt a small achy inside, because he knew what later can become. Sometimes later becomes distance. Sometimes later becomes regret. And sometimes later becomes silence. The kind of silence that stays with you for the rest of your life. Life doesn't usually warn us before taking something away. It doesn't send reminders. It doesn't tell us which moment will be the last. It simply gives us ordinary days, ordinary calls, ordinary chances to show people they matter. And we decide what to do with them. Daniel kept one thing from his mother's house. Her phone. Not because he needed it, but because the last call on that screen reminded him of a truth he never wanted to forget. 4 simple words that changed his life forever. I'll call you later. And the painful lesson they carried. Later is never promised. Life is happening now.